100% of my designs are constructed using Dowelmax, and one of the best applications for Dowelmax is the construction of drawers. The two front drawer corners will be doweled miters and the two rear will be doweled end to face joints. With the drawer in the open position, the front corners will be visible, and for that reason we will drill completely through the side walls and the dowels will be exposed. Since the dowels exit the boards at an angle of 45 degrees, once they are trimmed and sanded they will exhibit an ovoid shape at the surface. The lower edges of the drawer walls are dadoed to accept and hide the bottom plate. The doweled miter arrangement is another first for Dowelmax. Let's get started. Now we'll begin with the rear section of the drawer, and as you can see it entails an edge to face joint, so we'll have to change Dowelmax to the second configuration to do this face joint configuration. Now before you start a project like this, you want to ensure that your wood is absolutely square and true and all the dimensions are exactly the same. I wouldn't recommend cutting these in the chop saw. All these faces should be cut in the table saw, and you want your plane to be absolutely perfect both this way and that way. Otherwise, when you go to put the drawer together, it won't be square. Now we begin this rear section by marking our check marks. Now this is your reference face here, so I've put I'm using numbers on this occasion, so that's 3 and 3. Now the reference edges are on the top here, and that's 3 and 3 again, and an X on the surfaces to be drilled. Now this is a 5/8 wood, solid wood, which I think is ideal for drawers. 3/4 a bit too wide, and 1/2 inch is fine, but I want to use the 3/8 dowels, so I'm using the 5/8 thick wood. Now if you remember the formula for the space you need for 5/8 thick wood is 5/8 halves is 5/16, less 3/8 is minus a 16, so we need a 16 spacer on the face here to be able to accomplish this. Now we put this on here. I've already drilled these, of course, in order to save time. And what we're going to do here is we've got 4 dowels. We've got this dado cut here. That's a special cut. There's both cut on here and on the plate to give us more scope with this wood from the edge of the radius to the edge of the wood. So we're going to drill through 2 and 3 and miss one, do 4 and 5. Now when that's complete, move it along. Your indexing pin in there to ensure absolute accuracy, and then drill your last hole. Now, as I've said many times, this is all accurate within thousandths of an inch. Now when we come to do the face type joint into the face of the wood, we take our Dowelmax and we remove the entire clamp bracket. We use both these studs and these knobs here. We rotate it and we put it on here, and we finish up with this configuration. So all we do there is line it up again to the check marks and drill through exactly the same sequence. And then again, using your index pin, slide this along, move the index pin into the last hole or one of the other ones, and drill your last bore. And that's it. It's a very fast process. Since we're using a spacer on this face here, you need a backing block to clamp it, because these clamp discs will foul that. So you just use I'm using a piece of 1/2-inch plywood. Now this is the front joint for the drawer. As you can see, it's a miter joint, and we've used the new Dowelmax 45-degree accessory to drill these holes. You've also noticed that we can drill through and not go right through, but on this occasion we've decided to go right through and make a decorative finish. Now, once again, before you start this, use test pieces. Make sure your 45s are perfect, and make sure your cuts are absolutely 90 degrees. Okay, now before you start, put it there. In this case, you just need 2 reference marks. This is 1 and 1 here. And, now, what you want to do in a case like this is you want to use spacers with the accessory to ensure that the dowel holes are as close to this inner edge as possible. This gives you greater strength, and it's also, you know, the most advantageous to do that. Now we take our. Now I've already worked this out, so I've used an inch spacers, make it up in inch spacers to provide this cut, because you have to use a backing block, because once you come through you want to avoid tear out. So as I said, I've already cut these. Make sure your backing block is in a good position. That's good. And now in this case we're going to drill 6 holes. A bit overkill, but quite decorative. Now again, as with the other ones, just move it along, and to your last hole, and then drill your last hole. That's number 6. Now you follow exactly the same procedure on the other piece, which is number 1, which is here. Exactly the same procedure, and that's all there is to it.